Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Testing 1 2.
All right. Cool. Looks like we're good. All right. Everybody, I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic
Just do it.
episode
Episode.
of the Righteous Anger Podcast. And we're back. All right. What do you think of that?
That was hilarious.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what we want. I don't know. I got lots of hilarious stuff.
Oh my gosh.
See, I'm on next level. Next level podcasting.
We got sound effects on this podcast.
If you don't have a slide whistle, you're not podcasting. It's not real.
Yeah, it's like manual sound effects.
Oh my gosh.
We got like trash cans and like a xylophone too or whatever. He has a cowbell.
We always need more cowbell.
More cowbell.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, enough wackiness. Okay, so everybody like to introduce, let me move this a little bit, introduce everybody here and everybody there to Eric. He's back.
Hi.
Hey, let me turn a little bit. Everybody,
Hi, everybody.
Eric's back.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
Slide whistle on floor.
dropping stuff. But yeah,
Slide whistle down.
Eric is back. I think John Hughes did a fantastic job not last week, but the week before that. John Hughes did an amazing job. We're bringing him back.
Yeah.
We're bringing him back because he's funny and he's laid back. He's chill.
Dude.
He's a good dude. So we're bringing him back. I just don't know when. But John's like watching this right now going, no, when? No, say when.
Tell me when.
Tell me when. I'll be there.
Episode 19, dude.
Oh, that's good. I like that. There you go. Episode 19 is perfect. There's no rhyme or reason.
Just throw it out there.
Just
It's a good number.
19, baby. So our real special guest today is a man, a legend in this area, an entrepreneur, a smooth gentleman, a respectful guy. He's got a sexy laugh.
Don't disappoint the people.
Got a deep voice like me, but a little better.
It's more silky.
It's a little bit more silky.
Got that nice smoothness to it.
He's got a better radio voice. I think he's wearing all Nike.
Yeah.
Nice.
I came sponsored tonight.
So
This guest is brought to you by Nike.
By Nike.
Nike, send us free stuff.
this guy is paid.
Yeah.
The wonderful, amazing Sam Valme. I don't have any sound effect for that.
I could have brought the intro music too.
Oh, you got intro music?
Yeah. I
Wow,
have
that's
intro-
new. We don't have a guest. We've never had a guest with intro music.
Yeah. We'll
be
edit,
cool.
we'll edit that in. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
All right, we'll mix it in later.
Yeah.
That'll be for our for the people that listen on
I'm Bogarting here.
YouTube or YouTube and wherever this is being recorded. All right, so no, you keep taking it. I'm still introducing.
All right, right on.
So, for those of you guys who've been with us for the last 5 episodes, you guys kind of know what the deal is. We like to bring in interesting people and talk to them. That's really what it's all about. You guys know, you go to, you remember when you had lives and friends, you'd hang out with those friends, and then sometimes cool things would happen. Maybe you'd have beer. Maybe you'd have some hookah. Maybe you'd have something a little harder. I don't know. Sorry, I was never in one of those parties. Not cool enough. But
I never got invited.
you never got invited either?
Nah.
I bet you Sam did.
Yeah.
Just never got caught.
Oh, snap.
I told you, this is one smooth freaking guy. Let me change your levels, though. Your levels are way too hot. All right. Give me another sound check.
Sound check.
Okay, perfect.
It's like the 3 most important words in politics.
What's that?
Don't get caught.
Don't get
caught.
So, what, you think the Trump administration is just completely failing at that part? Or
I have no idea at this point.
They didn't get the memo on that?
They just flipped it on us. They're
flipped it
like,
on
let's
it.
get caught for everything.
Expose everything. Nothing's real.
I swear, man. I was hearing an argument today. I was listening to some news agency. I don't remember which one it was, but they were talking about how it might have been CNN, and they were talking about how Trump is. The argument was Trump is not. Oh, you know what? Strike that. I don't want to get in trouble with CNN. Not sure where I heard this from.
Oh, snap.
Can't
Lawsuit.
probably cite this.
I just got to be really careful here.
Lawsuit.
Lawsuit, yeah. Not CNN. Somewhere in my fantasies, something I heard.
Right.
But anyways, that Trump is so stupid
Oh, dear.
Definitely not CNN.
Definitely not CNN, right? Yeah, that's like their new slogan.
Right.
Trump is so stupid. CNN, watch us. Trump's stupid. But they were saying Trump is so dumb that he doesn't even realize that nobody's taking him serious. Like he's done so much stuff. Like as far as like like the boy who cried wolf, basically.
At this point, nobody believes anything.
Nobody believes. So they were talking about South Korea and how. Or not, excuse me, jeez Louise, not South, North. Golly, man, I'm
The
effed
important
up.
ones.
The important ones, right.
So who's talking about? So where you read this, they were talking about North Korea.
They were talking about how he threatened North Korea.
Yeah.
Via Twitter.
If you guys don't do something, we will. Yeah, via
Twitter.
Via Twitter.
Via
Yeah.
the president's official
Yeah, we're in the age of twit diplomacy.
twitplomacy. Which is a double entendre. Actually, wait.
No, it's just two.
I think it was just two. Yeah,
Double
it was just two.
entendre. So yeah, so apparently no one's taking him serious. And they were saying, oh, if Obama had said, if China, if you don't do something about North Korea, we will, it would have been like people getting ready for war, right?
Pretty sure that was like foreign policy for 8 years under Obama. Like,
what's that?
Hey, China, like, watch your boy. Like, that was the policy from.
You think it was so blatant now?
I don't think it was like tweeted.
No, not publicly tweeted. It was a conversation you had over like steak, not cake.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'd eat meat and discuss politics.
Right.
Not,
Not talking about how much the president of China loved your piece of cake after you just launched missiles at Syria.
Yeah, that was a great piece of chocolate cake, apparently.
Apparently
like,
it was.
You remembered it.
It was.
The flavor, the
Exactly.
texture, all that.
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh.
He went on in detail about it.
It's kinda
oh, yeah,
like-
we might go to war. But,
Yeah.
the cake's great.
Yeah. Donald Trump's Twitter is like, a choose your own ending at this point for America
Oh
or
my
for the
gosh.
country. It's
Oh my
like, do you want it to be via Syria or via North Korea? Like, how do you want to pop this thing off?
How do you
Russia
wanna-
or China?
Yeah,
Like, what's up with you?
Which one here? Which one's going to go for it?
Yeah.
Golly, that's so ridiculous. So are you guys like legitimately scared of our future, or you guys feel like this is just,
Mattis ain't gonna let him do anything stupid. Mattis is gonna be like, "Sir, we can't bomb North Korea. We can't send nukes to North Korea, sir.
Yeah.
we can't do that."
And that's kind of the trick that we have now with telecommunications and just having everyone so connected, is because our economies are so intertwined. It makes it really difficult for any one nation to do anything so egregious that'll ostracize them on like an economic scale.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the reason why, even when it comes to our relationships with Russia or China, there's so many implicacies of us going to war that, if we went to war with China, we would lose so many imports or exports, whatever the case would be. We'd lose thousands of whatever the jobs might be.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants to draft. My dad was an Army master sergeant for a while. He let us know that. So, I mean,
No veteran wants a draft.
no,
trust me.
nobody wants a draft. So
Nobody wants a guy behind you with a rifle who doesn't want to be there.
Right.
And you're talking to two veterans right here,
Right.
And we volunteered,
Right.
so I couldn't even imagine somebody who didn't.
Right.
Like you didn't want to be here. Give me your rifle. Give me your grenades. Go away.
Yeah.
But you know what though? You go to places like Turkey. I know Turkey for sure, but other countries as well. They 2 years minimum of service to the country.
I'm half in that boat, but I think that we should have like federal public service. Like you don't have to join the military. Do the post office for 2 years,
Right.
or do some public service. Anything, doesn't matter what.
I think that's a pretty good idea, actually.
It's 2 years, just 2 years federal national service.
You'd
It'll bring the country together. It'll
you-
bring people like, oh, I have an obligation to my country.
You'd have to make it crappy work though.
It could be crappy. It could be
No,
good.
It can't be too fun.
Yeah, it can't be too fun because there's going to be so many people that go, yeah, give me the fun, not getting shot at thing. Give me that one. You have to give them like toilet. All right, listen, you are the official toilet cleaner for 2 years, or you can go to Fallujah.
But you know what they do in the military, right? We were both there. They say to you when you get recruited, when you get brought in, well, your test scores, son, you're not going to be able to do that job.
They didn't tell you that.
No, they didn't tell either of us that, but they tell a lot of people that. I had a friend who ended up in infantry because he didn't get a high enough score in ASVAB. I think he got like a 90 or an 80.
Yeah.
So
wait.
they'll have a public test.
Pause real quick.
What's up?
Can you make it a little bit harder?
I have to put another coal on.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I'll put 2 on just to make sure.
Oh, damn. I've never smoked shisha with 2 coals. Let's see. Let's see. This guy got a rental home on Airbnb. I got some questions if he do.
Okay.
All right. Wait. Before we do,
We'll go to questions already.
hey Zoe. Before we do that, I want to go ahead and welcome David. Hello, David. Hello, Tanya. Elise. Steak, not cake. She loves that. Loves that. She's gonna use that. All right. I got some questions if you do. All right, Zoe, go ahead, man. Give us your question. Whenever it pops up, we'll ask the man, Sam. The man, the legend. Then we got to get into like a little bio with Sam. Right now we're just having fun, but let's see.
Oh, wow, I got followers over here too. They're just all saying hey, hey y'all.
What is that?
How you
guys,
doing?
You guys hear that?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Feedback. All right.
Did you do something?
I didn't move.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, is that live prop?
Clear?
No.
No, I still hear it.
Technical difficulties. Stand by.
Do.
Do you remember?
Feedback's coming in on it.
No. Yep. Now we do.
Okay, sorry about that, folks. Folks on the YouTube. All right, here's the Zoe question.
Zoe's got a question.
Zoe's got a question. I've been looking into getting a home in Florida, and I wanted to use a traditional home loan. Is the turnaround for income fast once you get into it? And does he think a traditional home loan is probably a good idea? It doesn't. So.
Well, there's a couple things to get started with that. I'm assuming that this person lives in the area of. I'm assuming this person lives not in Florida.
Yeah, he lives in this area.
He lives in this area. Okay, number one. So number one, investing in an area that you're not, assuming you're not familiar with this area in Florida, unless it's like where you grew up, investing in an area that you're not familiar with is always a high risk. You want to make sure you have a team in place in that area to make sure everything from the acquisition to maintenance, that's all, taken care of. When it comes to a traditional home loan, I'm assuming that you're talking about a 30-year conventional mortgage. Some things to consider there. If it's a vacation property, you're going to have like 20% down, 20 to 25% down if it's an investment. So you're going to want to make sure you have that kind of capital to be able to put down. And also keep in mind the interest rates are typically a point high over prime. So right now I think, when I made my purchase, it was like 3.5% was prime, and I got it like 3.7 if it's because I live there. 3.25. Thank you.
It's 4.25 now.
It's 4.25 now. Wow.
Yeah, that's prime.
Yeah, so it's definitely increased. So you're typically going to be like a point above that at a minimum when it's an investment property. I haven't looked in quite a while. So there's something else to consider. You're going to have a pretty big down payment, and you're also going to have to deal with a higher interest rate just because. If it's an investment property, the bank is assuming they're taking a higher risk because someone's not going to be there full time. To the last part of the question, which is the turnaround fast enough? It really depends on the area. A good way to determine that is that there are already a lot of investors in that area. They've kind of proven the market stable. I wouldn't be as worried about competition as I would be worried about actually validating the market because that's what's going to make sure you have people actually coming in and taking advantage of your product. If that's the case, then potentially, yeah, you could have a real quick turnaround. Once you've operated for a little while, typically it takes around 2 to 3 months to stabilize. So
2 to 3 months.
2 to 3
Nice.
months, yeah.
Jeez Louise.
This isn't.
It's not a long time.
Yeah, that's like a typical average. If you're doing longer than that, probably something isn't jiving with either your pricing, the location, or the quality of the product you're providing, the house in general. So,
And that's something that you really have to know. Obviously, going into it, you've got to have all that figured out.
I'd like to say our project that we did, but as it was our first one, we definitely considered a lot of things in regards to the space. How many people we wanted it to sleep. But the area was based out of Manassas, Virginia. It's probably not, if you guys know the area, it's not like the most desirable area in Northern Virginia, but it happens to be close enough to Virginia wine country, DC, Dulles, even Quantico. We have folks asking us
battlefields
about that.
too.
The battlefields, yeah. So, we took the opposite approach. Something that I probably wouldn't recommend now is we went into an area that was not really exposed as well. and we were able to prove that folks wanted to stay there. Now we're booked out like past August. So
Now,
yeah.
how sure were you about? Like, I grew up in this area, so I understand how it's changed since the '80s.
Yeah.
And kind of who comes here and all that. Did you have that hunch going in? I mean, was that like your prime mover motivating you to do this project?
So for this particular project, the primary motivator was I wanted to. So the house is a 5-bedroom house. Keep in mind, it's like only like 2,000 square feet. So everything's pretty compact. But me and my wife lived in the basement for 5 years in the 2-bedroom area. With no real kitchen, 1 bathroom. We were renting out the 3 rooms upstairs to roommates. They were paying the majority of, the rent at the time because it was my parents' house. So the primary factor was we wanted to have a full kitchen, access the front door, and still have the majority of our mortgage, if not all of it, paid in our bills and utilities. So we did the math and figured that by renting it out as an Airbnb, we can probably, double to, do 2.5 times, 2.5 times the amount of income we would be able to make versus renting out just the upstairs normally. So we moved upstairs and rented out the basement, and now it covers pretty much all the expenses. So
Nice.
That's fantastic.
that was a motivator.
That's a sweet deal.
That is awesome. How did your wife feel like before that? Was it your idea or her idea?
She kind of married into me being doing rentals for a while, so she really didn't have an option as far as that. But the Airbnb thing was my idea.
That's wrong, dude. She always has an option, bro.
Yeah, well, I guess yeah. So she saw the options in shows. So once she committed on that, from there, that was it was pretty much the next step. She knew that she wanted to be in the upstairs to have access, like I said, to the front door and the kitchen. We still wanted to have everything paid, so that's what we chose to go with.
So it looks like Zoe's next question. He has 2 questions. One is, so DC area does good on Airbnb? And then the next question is, are you doing monthly rentals or weekly? So start off with the monthly or weekly.
So we do daily. So we could have turnovers every day.
Daily rentals, son.
Yeah, could be daily.
It only makes sense. Dulles is not that far away, my friend.
Yeah.
My friend.
Yeah, folks coming in for work, they want to stay for a day or two. Doors open. The folks want to come in for weddings. They just want to come for the weekend. But doing it by the day makes a lot more sense. And yeah, DC is a very popular area for all types of folks that are just visiting family or just working. So we got all types of folks coming in.
You're listening to a young gun right now. How old are you, man? If you don't mind, I'll tell everybody.
25.
25 years old. All right. This guy is literally 9 years younger than me, and he's making me look real bad. But you know what? I'm inspired. So all you old heads out there, older than me even, you can learn a thing or 3 here on the Righteous Anger Podcast with Sam Valme. I love that. I love that name, by the way. Sam Valme. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Sam Valme.
Sam Valme. It's so sexy, man. I feel like you're in the wrong line of work. What is the... Okay, let me see. The next question. Zoe is just kill. I think Zoe wants to be a partner in something. What is the rate? What are the rates in this area for daily, weekly rentals? I know Orlando is like $1,500 a week or better.
Yeah. So Orlando. So keep in mind, you have 2 different types. Well, you have 2 different types of like the quote unquote Airbnb rentals. You have like the vacation areas where like anywhere in Orlando, you're talking about coastlines. There's an attraction such as like let's say Kissimmee in Florida. You have Disneyland there. That's gonna be more of a vacation spot. So they're gonna rent at a much higher rate just because they have an attraction. If you're just talking about folks coming in for work, weddings, typically that's much lower. But keeping in mind too. You're also dealing with like smaller groups. That's why we have to do daily as opposed to weekly rentals. So just to give you an idea, our rate right now, we have 2 rooms that we rent out individually in the basement, but they can also rent the entire space. Each room typically goes between $45 and $55, and the entire space typically for about $100. Nice. So for a weekly, we typically would give a discount. So you can talk about if they did rent for a week in one shot, it'll be about $500. So $2,000. A month if you do the math. Typically, though, that doesn't happen. You don't have folks booking for an entire week. You have folk booking at that typically higher daily rate. So we average, monthly between, $2,000 and $2,400. I think we're going to do here in April.
Yeah, Zoe just said that he's tired of he says I'm tired of working, man. I think I'm gonna get on this.
Nice.
All right,
Right.
Now this is where Sam goes. Well, hold
But
on. There is work.
but yeah, keep in mind that an Airbnb has a lot of pros. You know, much higher income. Our basement would only rent for about $1,000, but like I said, we were doing upwards of 25 on a really good month. But keep in mind that's with people coming in and out of the house potentially on a daily basis. So there's turnover associated with that every time somebody leaves. So that's work. You're starting a business, not necessarily a long-term investment.
Yeah, you
that
wouldn't
can
you wouldn't call this passive at all.
this is not a passive investment. This is a
a
business
job.
that you're running.
It's a business.
Yeah.
And Sam, how are your reviews?
Oh, we've been operating since October. We have over 150 reviews. Over 90% response, or over 99% response rate, and we're over like a 4.8
Nice.
on our response.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So-
4.8 over how long?
Over since last October. So what's that, like 7-8 months?
Nice.
Give or take.
So he's making sure that you guys renovated the whole area. You guys made it real nice.
Yeah.
And you make sure that housekeeping is on point. And what do you do with like problem people?
Yeah, so that's always, I'll give you an example. As I was leaving to come here, I noticed someone parked in the driveway, for instance, right?
Oh man.
It's a small thing, but it's still an inconvenience, right? Because if I
yeah.
didn't say anything and then I come in tonight and then they're trying to get out in the morning and they block, and now it's an issue. 3 days ago, I got a knock on the door at 2 a.m. Because we had some folks coming in from the Dominican, and they didn't have a new version of our house manual, which has the access codes to get in. So I got to deal with that. There's a lot of things that are inconvenient when working through Airbnb, just working with the guests. But those are few and far between. The majority of people, they read. The majority of people, they are able to get in and get out without us ever actually meeting them, which is great.
Nice.
We only had one real issue where someone was smoking weed outside of the door, and it kept getting into the house.
Smoking the weed.
Yeah, so we asked them to leave, but they were only there for a day, so that really wasn't even an issue. We also had an arrest.
What?
Had nothing to do with the Airbnb. I like throwing it in there, but it had nothing to do with the Airbnb. Just some random drunk guy on our back porch. The reason why it's semi-relevant is because we thought it was a guest, and we
wow.
had guests coming that night, and he had just passed out on our back deck. So we had to call we have security cameras on the outside of the house, so we could see him just laid out by the stairs. Had to call the cops, have them come get him before our guests came back and saw him, just dead on our back porch.
Did
Jeez.
you have to deal with that at all?
No, the cop just knocked on the door when he was done and was like, "Hey." Well, my wife freaked out, of course, because the guy was at first trying to get in the back door, then just knocked
Are
down
you
the
kidding me?
Wow.
No, 100%.
Trying to get in the back door?
Yeah, I tried to get the back door.
Yeah,
Because
that sounds like Manassas.
Yeah, Manassas, that's what you deal with,
for those of you who don't know that aren't from this area, I grew up in this area. We don't call it Manassas. We call it Manasshole
Or Manasty.
or Manasty.
Oh, man.
It's but you know what? It's funny because Manassas is weird. It's got like pockets. So
Yeah.
you're like in the Yorktown area, that's a little troubling. But then you go on 234 or whatever, and you kind of go down this way, and now you've got like private schools and I might be talking to my butt, but I'm pretty sure like you've got some $1 million houses out there. And
Oh, yeah.
you got some $1 million houses out there. So Northern Virginia, DC areas like that. It's where they call them other places. They're like, oh, go across the train tracks. Here, it's just go to the next neighborhood, and you never know what you're going to get. It's very exciting. I like it.
Yeah. It's very
fun.
lively.
Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Let me see if we got anything else. Man asses, yeah, pretty much.
Better than Sleesburg.
Sleaze, yeah, that's the other high quality. You don't know what you're getting. Should I live on the this side of the street or this side of the street? Well, let's see. This side of the street, I might get mugged. This side of the street, everything's cool,
Yeah. There's a neighborhood watch.
but it's way more expensive. Like way more expensive. It's
40% more
ridiculous.
expensive.
The thing that pissed me off so much. I was when I was in the Navy. Here, I'll give. You want this?
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good for now.
When I was in oh my gosh.
Let's take it apart.
All right, here we go. Yeah, when I was in the Navy, I had been living in San Diego, and you guys have ever been to San Diego?
Somehow,
been there
no.
a couple times.
I have not somehow.
Oh yeah, go.
Yeah.
San Diego,
beautiful.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. But I lived because I was a poor service member So, with my little meager check that I got every 2 weeks, I ended up living in a place called Chula Vista.
Oh, yeah, Chula Vista. My ex-wife's from Chula Vista.
And Chula Vista, we would call that like Chula, Mexico.
Yeah.
Because it was like right on the cut, like the edge right there. I mean, Tijuana's right there. Chilexico. Yeah, it's very like, it's not the upper echelon crust or whatever. I mean, it's I could afford to be there. Let's put it that way.
Did you hang out in Riverside?
I hung out everywhere.
Okay.
Ocean Beach, Mission Beach. We'd go up to Venice on
San Andreas.
weekends. No. No.
I was messing with you.
Yeah, man, me and CJ. Uh-oh. What is going on? I don't know why I'm getting this. Sorry, guys, technical.
Drop out when you do that too.
Yeah, that's because it goes into the
Oh,
this mixer right
that
here.
sounds good now.
Yeah.
That sounds
What'd
really
you do?
good.
Nothing. Just plugged it back in. I think I need to get a new cord. That's the problem. You got all these freaking look, for those of you guys who don't know,
Yeah, what it looks like.
like I've got a full-on mixer right here, and can you guys want to see? See, you got a full-on mixer, and the problem with mixers is they're only as good as the cords that are attached to them. So you got cheap cords on a nice mixer, and which means you have not a nice mixer anymore. Georgetown Village in Manassas won't survive on Airbnb. Comment?
My parents live in Georgetown. Believe it or not, actually.
Georgetown Village?
I know exactly what he's talking about. It's kind of funny because my wife actually hates that neighborhood. My parents live there. No, Georgetown's kind of sketch, and not actually. So I'll give you a reason that Georgetown would have an issue beyond the fact that it's Georgetown. An ex-girlfriend of mine, also her mother was arrested there for selling narcotics.
Oh, boy.
Clearly, once again, it just pieces of history for everyone. But one of the problems that Georgetown actually has, if you are thinking about having an Airbnb, is their parking. There are certain days per week where they clean the streets or they do whatever they do on trash pickup, and you can only park on like one side of the street, and if you don't, you get towed. Something like that on Airbnb is a quick way to lose a lot of business.
Jeez.
So access is be a problem. Just something to keep in mind.
I got a friend who opened up what?
Question: Georgetown South? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just question if specify. We were talking about the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I've got a friend who opened up a restaurant with like 6 other investors, and I mean they you can tell they sunk a lot of money into it, and it was like super high. I mean, like $35 a plate type of.
Where was this?
Like down the street.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. No. In my opinion, not a good area to put something like if they did that in D.C., if they did that in Tyson's, sure.
Tyson's for Reston.
all Reston all day long because people expect to go there to hang out and party.
It's glitzy.
Right.
Yeah, but like right down the street from here, forget about it. And so yeah, they're closing up shop. But another yeah.
So they failed. No happy ending.
No. Yeah, it was
Moral
like,
of the story is.
it was like 8
Don't
months.
set up shop.
It was like six to 8 months.
Oh wow.
6 to 8 months.
That's impressive.
Whoa.
What to lose that fast? Yeah.
Yeah. Just to go
Well,
downhill that fast.
Apparently, there was a few murders and rapes in Georgetown South.
Oh yeah.
well, yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Not surprised at all.
Got a witness of them on my feed.
So I'm gonna go with. You got a witness?
Yeah,
I was there.
Well, you know what's funny is a friend of mine was nearly murdered in Manassas too.
Probably in
Jeez.
Georgetown South.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember where it was, but like her boyfriend doused the house with gasoline, was holding her by
In
knife
Georgetown
point.
South?
I think so.
Because my parents definitely talked about a fire that happened a couple months back.
It never actually caught. The
Oh, it
police
didn't
came.
caught?
There was a standoff for like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
Dude made a little makeshift explosive. He's up the creek now, doing like I think 20 years.
Oh.
They charged him with terrorism.
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 He made a makeshift bomb.
Oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
guess so. That makes sense.
Golly. And he's like, man, freaking ISIS never sent me a check or nothing.
I know. Where's this terrorist money?
Very good, my
Right.
friend. Very good.
No, your
Right.
bomb was weak.
It was weak.
It was too weak. It didn't deserve.
You are amateur.
It wasn't righteous. You didn't follow the instructions on the Twitter
Did you get,
instructions.
did
we
you get
sent
the instructions? We sent the instructions.
We set the
Right.
instructions. You've completely fouled them.
Right.
Oh man.
We
So-
gotta apologize.
Yeah.
Now
Right.
we got to apologize to somebody.
Whatever.
Eventually.
Screw you all. Screw you all.
It'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
All the
We're
apologies.
sorry for anybody we offended. Not really, but we're not sorry.
Man, so, golly, that's crazy, man. That's like right down the street, too. I want to follow him on Facebook just to pick his brain on the idea some more. So, if people do want to get in touch with you, how do they contact you?
So if you have questions about, Airbnb or anything like that, White House Rentals LLC, you can look up on Facebook. That's probably the best way to just ask questions on there. And you can get links to you can get links to our whitehouserentals.com if you want to see our project as well. And then if you just go to airbnb.com and type in Manassas, don't put in any dates. That way you can just see the top listings. And we'll be up there, all 3 of our listings. You can see how we have it laid out, all of our descriptions and stuff.
There you go, man. So you want to get some good advice on kind of going towards this venture, or what other kind of great things do you provide, or can you provide for somebody who's interested in getting into this?
Yeah. So we actually do a bit of consulting as well on the side.
There you go.
Ooh, do tell.
For Airbnb, just because folks trying to get into it, there's some things that just best practices you can do. We threw around a couple ideas. We've had 2 clients thus far, but really, the one thing they're pushing out right now is we have like a 2-hour training course, kind of just like a crash course in Airbnb. What I do is I open you up our interface. I show you the back end, as much as actually being a host, because there's certain things you can't see on Airbnb to actually have that listing set. And if you set the listing and don't actually use it, you're just going to be completely penalized for it. So having access to the back end before you're ready to actually start is huge. So I essentially walk you through everything from setting up your payment accounts. I'll walk you through how to actually do your pricing, working through the search algorithm. And then I give you a bunch of stuff to get started, like listing descriptions, turnover checklists, things like that too. So if you have questions about that, I'd be more than happy to provide more
It's a little
information.
harsh.
There you go. There you go. So, and then all they need to do is go to whitehouserentals.com.
Yeah. About us in the bottom or contact us. It'll shoot us an email, so we'll respond back.
It doesn't get much easier than that, guys. whitehouserentals.com. It's so easy. How did you even get that?
How did I get it?
That's insane. How did you even get that?
I stalked the domain I was originally whitehouserentals.net, stalked the domain. It was like some
Nice.
small like clothing store in like Iowa. And then on GoDaddy, what you can do is you can actually petition to take over the domain if the owner doesn't respond in a certain number of months. It takes like 6 months.
Yep.
But you pay extra, and essentially GoDaddy finds these people, and if they don't respond, you can take it from them.
Check that out.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, well, we know you did.
Yeah.
Freaking cool.
Domain parking's like a notorious thing too. All they have to do is respond and say, you know what, I'm thinking about renewing.
Oh, yeah.
6 more months.
Oh, yes.
So they'll park it for like $5 and then
we can
hold
get
on
a
to
long-
it for years.
Yeah, we can get into a long conversation about domains and just like this purchasing that as a business. The more common your name is, of course, the more expensive it is. But there are some people that literally would just hold on to names of like other companies.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, like Google Drive. If you go to, there is no GoogleDrive.com for a reason. It's because someone actually took that domain and is holding it ransom.
And they want it for like $7 zillion.
Right. So Google, when they try to get that back, there's nothing there.
Freaking, what's the dude's name? Larry and who?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Larry and the owners of Google. Larry
Oh,
and
Larry and Sergey.
Sergey. They're like, dude, there's no such thing as a zillion. It's like, I don't care. I want $7 zillion.
Yeah.
Like, dude, there's no such, I don't care. I want it. Like, this guy's not reasonable.
I want $20 reptilian.
20 reptilian dollars. I want 70 Zoomars on my desk.
Sir, that's not a real currency.
That's not a currency. You saying you can't afford it?
Yeah.
See, we made the Zoomar currency just for you, sir. Here are your.
Like,
That's what they would do.
What if you're talking to like a complete madman? It's like, all right, we look, we've got to make some money here. Like actually making. All right, they got artists like on it. Like, whose face should we put on this?
I'm sure they could find some designers.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Get some Zoomars. Start. What do you call those? Making counterfeit Zoomars. So, can you explain, Sam, sort of the beginnings?
Might have a referral for you, by the way.
A referral?
Yeah,
Already?
somebody who would want to do this. She owns a couple pieces of property.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll get with you afterwards about it.
Yeah, sure.
See if there's a little commission on the side.
Is it?
20-25%
Yeah, it's
split.
It's the lady I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So please, Sam, tell us about kind of how you started with this particular venture. We'll start there. Okay, just start there.
How we started.
How you started and got into it.
Okay. How we started actually goes back to my mother at the ripe age of 18, letting me know that, hey, I'm going to be moving out of the house, as in she would be moving out of the house, and there's a mortgage on this house that needs to be paid. So either you can stay here and live here and pay that mortgage,
Nice.
or we can sell the house, and I'm going to go, about my life. Because I was either supposed to go to college at that point in time, or I was supposed to stay there. So essentially what I did, broke it up with my mom. Keep in mind, I was making like $8.25 an hour. I was working at Best Buy at this time.
Nice.
So like a $1,300 a month mortgage was not in the realm of possibility. Like I didn't even know those numbers existed in real life in people's bank accounts at that time. So I actually got a couple roommates in place. Like I was folks at Best Buy that just wanted to move out of their house too. I was like, hey, I got like 3 other rooms. Y'all can live upstairs. I've charged them all like $300 or $400 a piece. I forget the exact numbers now, but that's how we got started with rentals. Right? Just having people in the house.
Made it work.
Pause for 1 second.
Yeah.
You guys all know I'm the CEO of Vicker Studios, vickerstudios.com.
Man.
That's the beginning of a movie, by the way. Just saying. Just saying. I hear pitches every day. That's the beginning of a movie. We'll see if we'd have to jazz it up a little bit.
You got to add some more drama.
Might have to
that.
add.
It worked. There was no drama with it.
A little bit more. There's got to be some kind of character flaw added in.
Dov Simmons?
Simmons.
I think it's Dov Simmons. He's this guy who he's like 30 years in the film business, LA, big time producer, and he actually does film, basically like a film school, all digital. So
Whole process.
you don't have to go to school. You just subscribe and then.
Oh, neat. So it's like New York Institute,
right?
of photography.
And he basically you just follow all the files, all the classes.
Okay.
And I mean it's like no BS. And one thing that he talks about, I love this so much. It's in screenwriting. He goes, take any movie that is like an awesome movie, what you would consider an awesome movie.
Okay.
And he says, I guarantee you, there's 5 oh no's, 5 oh shits, and 1 oh my God. Every movie, just sit down the next time you're watching a movie and watch it. 5 oh no's, 5 oh shits. That his words. I'm sorry for cursing, but that's how he teaches it.
Oh, apologies.
And then 1 oh my God, and that 1 oh my God is basically the climax of the movie.
When the character overcomes the adversity.
Finally overcomes the adversity. That's the oh my God. Yeah, so check that out. But okay, so where are we at? Where are we? We're at you had your
First roommates.
Roommates, okay.
Yeah, first roommates. That was the equivalent, house hacking or rent hacking, however you want to call it. Excuse me. From there, fast forward a little bit, my wife ended up moving down. I lived downstairs. The other 3 guys lived upstairs, and I had probably 11 roommates over the course of me going to college, going through jobs, just over time. My wife moved downstairs with me, and really because I had just always lived without paying rent or a mortgage. It was always paid for me. Because I had roommates. So I didn't know anything different than that. So when it came time for folks, one of them happened to leave. I think it was like the winter of 2016, and we didn't replace him immediately. And it was kind of that slow transition. We had just gotten married the year before, and we were like, hey, we don't want to call the pizza man to the back door for the rest of our lives. When our friends come and visit, we don't want to bring them to the back in the dark. Those kind of things. And also, I just discovered the Bigger Pockets podcast, right? So the Bigger Pockets podcast, for those who don't know, it's the podcast ran by biggerpockets.com. They're a huge real estate investing network. And I was getting to a point in my career professionally, and I'm a software consultant, where I realized that like your salary to, your salary cap is kind of quickly rising. And the only way for you to really take that next step is to become an owner. You have to own something. You can't just be a day-to-day worker anymore, because your effort to income ratio starts to do one of these numbers. It levels out. Whereas being an entrepreneur, the harder you work or the smarter you work, the higher your income can go. So I figured that out as well, and that all kind of concluded at the same area where we realized, all right, we want to become owners. We want to own the business. We want to figure out how we can do that. And we figured out the easy path to do that for us was through real estate. We happened to live in an area that would make a great rental, live in a home that would make a great rental. So we decided to purchase the house from my parents. And they actually really helped us out in getting started. And look at that, Rich Dads. I actually read, so I didn't read, it's funny you mentioned that, right? So this is the cash flow quadrant. I've read this book. So this isn't the first book I read, though, to really get it started. The first one I read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, also by the Rich Dad series, Robert T. Kiyosaki. That book, if you have not read that book yet, and I do not get commission for saying this, it's a very good book, but it teaches you how to think, right? And he does it through the art of storytelling, because I think that a lot of folks, when they, just get good advice on things like the 7 habits, it's just like a bulleted list of things that are good. But when you actually hear someone growing up and experiencing 2 different perspectives in life, you quickly realize how you were probably taught and even educated in school, and that's to be a worker, not to be an owner.
Now, like if you look at like the cover of this book, it'll probably be backwards for anybody's watching, but it's ESBI, and it's employee. S is self-employed, B is business owner, and I is investor. And if you're on this side of the quadrant, you're either an employee or a self-employed. Employee, pretty much your 9-to-5er. Self-employed, you're like a consultant, or you work for yourself, but you're still working in the business, not on the business.
Right.
Business owner, which is somebody who gets other people together to make money for the business so that you can work on the business and they can work in the business. And then finally, the place you really want to be is an investor, somebody who has the money to make other businesses grow, and then you get that income back passively. Did I explain that okay?
You actually explained it perfectly. So most people, it's self-employed and small business owner. Those are used interchangeably. But yeah, that's the idea, is you need to get on the right side of the quadrant where you actually own the business and you're just receiving that passive income from it. The idea is that if you own a real business, that's great. You should be able to leave for an extended period of time, and the business should come back operating even more efficiently than when you left, right? So that's when you'll actually have a real business. So ideally, you probably have some friends or family members who have their own business, but you probably heard them say something, well, I can't leave for a week, or I have to be there every night, or I got to put in 100 hours because if I don't, things fall through the cracks.
They're not doing it right.
Right. They're not doing it right. They don't have the systems in place to actually self-maintain their organization.
And actually, with with me starting the business that I've got, vickerstudios.com.
Another plug.
Of course, it's my
plug your own thing.
It's my podcast.
Absolutely.
So
plug.
My wife, my mom, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my father, my everybody, my cousins, everybody. Not all of them, actually. Some of my cousins were very much like, yeah, go for it. But most people were like, dude, it's so, and these are people, mind you, that don't own businesses.
Oh, yeah.
But they all say, oh man, that's too hard. It's too much work. The failure rate's super high. I'm like, really? How high is the failure rate?
Right.
Like not taking it into consideration the person who's and their mentality. Like going back to Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, his whole mind frame wasn't to be stuck in a business that if you were to leave the business, it would fail. That's exactly the wrong idea.
Right.
You need to set something up and be a leader so that you can put people in place that were going to continue the business, even if you leave. And my uncle, he actually he owned a multi-million-dollar company for a while, security company, and what he told me, I'll never forget. He goes, you know what? The greatest part about owning my business is I can go get a haircut anytime I want.
Yeah.
That was his biggest thing. He's like, if I need a haircut at 2 p.m.,
just go get one.
I'm just going to go get a haircut. I'll just leave. I'll just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And business still keeps operating.
Right.
So
Money goes back into the bank.
That's right. That's right. He's actually that was, I used to think you could actually expense haircuts. Apparently you can't expense haircuts. So just for those of you who start your own businesses, don't even keep track of your haircuts. It doesn't count. Sorry.
Laundry, you can do that.
Laundry counts.
Yeah. It is April. Actually, it's just past tax season. So Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. I think everyone at this point should have spoken to their accountant. And if you don't have an accountant for your taxes, you should get one.
Yeah, don't try
just,
to do it
don't
yourself.
just do it yourself.
No, because you are screwing yourself out of money.
Yeah,
Big time.
there are people that get paid to do that, and just pay them. They'll bring you back more money than you could have imagined.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. I've since I started the business, I've had 3 different accountants.
Yeah,
And each one of them, it amazes me. They'll go, hey, you're going to get like, $500 back if you do this, and you'll get $200 back if you do this, and you'll get $1,000 if you do that. And it's like, I would have never, I would have, I remember when I started a business way back.
yep.
And it was in the health and fitness arena. And I actually spent more money on the business. I actually went way upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, purely because I didn't do my taxes the right way.
That's impressive. Yeah, I mean, then that absolutely could happen. But I think that's actually a true point to being that business owner. That's a lot of things just in life. It's understanding what you specialize in and what people are just going to be better at you at doing, and it's going to be worth your time and money to just pay them to do it, so you can focus on what you're good at.
Right. And there's another guy. I don't remember who says this, but God, I wish I could remember the names. But there's $10 jobs, $100 jobs, $1,000 jobs, $10,000 jobs, right? You've got to be able to quantify what it is that you're doing and what kind of job that is. So like if I'm sitting, if I'm doing my business, right? And I've got the option to sit there and do my books for like 2 hours or go out and make some phone calls and do some meetings. The doing my books is a $10 an hour job.
Right.
The going out and getting meetings is potentially a $1,000 job.
Right.
So where should I be spending my time?
Right. And that actually even goes to how we spend time, in the house as well. They say that one of the issues that we have as Americans, we don't actually we invest we invest a lot of money in doing things outside the house, to relax us from our jobs or whatever the case is. But we actually don't invest enough money, inside the home to take care of some of those menial tasks that we all think about, including things like having an accountant, including things like doing the yard and cleaning inside. Or you may think, oh my gosh, it's $200 a month to have someone come in the house and clean. Not that I have a house cleaner, but how many hours a day do you spend, just passively cleaning, and then you do once a month that big clean? That's $200 spent, but that could actually be like maybe 20 hours of let's go ahead and say like 10 hours of your time over the course of a month. So is that, really worth your,
It's 120 hours a year.
Yeah, it's 120 hours a year. Is that really worth your time? What else could you be doing with that time for $200? Could you go out and make $200 in that 10 hours a month? Could you make more than 10?
And that's
$200?
that's the difference between an entrepreneur and somebody who's not an entrepreneur, is thinking, how do I maximize my time? How do I not how do I save money? It's how do I make money?
Right.
Saving's important, but just saving by itself will not really get you to your goals. You have to figure out how to make that.
You'll never be free.
You'll never be free
By just saving.
Saving's important. You should pay yourself, as they say, but
Pay yourself first. Is that
that's how it goes. Pay yourself always. Yeah, pay yourself first. But
right, and it's a quick note. Pay yourself first does not mean I got to go out and buy a new Lamborghini first, or I got to go out and go on vacation first. It means invest in yourself first. It means put the money back to how you can go ahead and grow with that first. And then everything else, including your bills, everything else comes second. Because if you're not investing back in yourself first, then you're never going to build up that well of passive income to be able to do these things autonomously. You're always going to be relying on that paycheck from your 9 to 5.
that's right. Even what's his name, Dave Ramsey. Even Dave Ramsey says, "Let the creditors call you. Take care of your emergency fund. Get that thing up first."
Yeah.
And then start paying off your debts and use the snowball method. And for those of you guys who don't know what the snowball method is, it's very cool. Instead of paying the highest interest rate, if you have like a bunch of debts, credit cards and all that, pay the smallest amount first. Pay that off. Put all your money into the smallest amount. And then when you pay that off, let's say you have a $200, a $10,000, and a $20,000. This is all hypothetical, right? The $200, get that out of there, and then roll that money that you were spending in the $200 to the $1,000. What would I say?
$10,000.
$10,000. Then get the $10,000 going, And then once you pay off the 10,000, whatever you were paying on that, now see, and what you're doing is you're taking away the small ones so you can just focus on the next smallest one. It's called the debt snowball, and there's no other way to get out of debt quickly than that way. Nothing that I've found. Would you recommend anything
There's an
else?
alternate method.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's like the snowball method. It just works from the top down. You take the largest balance and you start paying that one down first.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It works that you're paying the highest balance because you're paying the most on the interest.
Right.
Like if it's 20,000 at like 16.9
I see what you're saying.
versus 500 at 16.9, it makes more
So
sense to pay.
You're saying
down.
you're saying the highest interest rate?
Yeah, because $20,000 on 16.9 interest is going to net you like a lot more losses over long term.
True.
So you pay that larger one down faster.
Well, no. Well,
If you pay it down, you're paying lower interest, and you pay the minimums on the small ones
I
until
think
they're paid off.
I think the reason why Dave says get the smaller ones out
Yeah.
of the way is so that you
you
can
have more capital to put on
you
that
can
one. Yeah.
compound on the other one. So it's like get
Yeah.
those out of the way.
I've seen both methods work. It's a matter of what works for you. Like if it's a mental achievement to pay off like 12 credit cards, they're all small bills, then you've got like 3 or 4 big ones. Or if it makes more sense for you to pay off the big ones, then you've just got a whole bunch of little ones, and now you've got more capital to free up for them.
Yeah.
I mean, good.
I've seen both methods online.
I think that paying off debt's very important. I think that
yeah.
debt's definitely one of the cruxes. Actually, I think that debt's a brilliant idea. Come up with the best business owners and investors of our country to keep us all at a certain level. My approach is a little bit different. I would have to say, probably controversial in the sense that I don't really think that paying off debt is a priority. I think having student
there.
loans,
That's
for
where I'm
instance. My idea is that you have debt. Let's figure out number one, instead of let's focusing on like paying off debt at the fastest rate, regardless of the interest rate. Of course, pay your minimums on everything. We don't want you to go into like bankruptcy or
or
anything.
lose credit out of it.
Or lose credit out of it. Definitely pay those. But if you have a $200 payment and you have a $300 and $500 payment, I would instead figure out, pay your minimums off. And then you want to purchase, I would say, instead of paying that debt down, buy an asset that can net me $200.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
Hello.
From there, purchase another asset that's going to give me $400. It might take you longer overall to pay that debt down, but keep in mind, if you keep that asset operating, it's going to be able to continue to pay that initial money without you having to actually continue to work that job. And that's really how you build up over time. That small balance, which is what real estate allows you to do. Or if you want to be smart with stocks, it's a little more of a gamble if you don't know what you're doing.
It's so complicated.
Yeah, but I prefer to invest in things I understand real estate. So, if it gives you a certain amount of money back per month, and you can go ahead and apply that to your debts, then you still get there, but now at least you have an asset to be able to give you that passive income moving forward.
Now, I had asked you back when I was, I frequent the bigger podcasts. Bigger Pockets podcast. And I'd asked you about multifamily, and guys like Grant Cardone and all them, they're like multifamily all day long.
Yeah,
and even the guys on bigger podcasts say the same thing.
yeah.
But you said in the DMV, that's DC, Maryland, Virginia area. That's where we're broadcasting from. You said that's not the easiest thing to do. Why is that?
It's just the way the homes were constructed. They're just more single-family homes or SFRs in the area.
What's an FSR?
Single-family home.
Single-family residence.
Thank you. Single-family residence.
No worries. I
Jeez.
know what you're talking about. In the Northeast, they built more duplexes.
Yeah, I was
usually
like, why is that
separated homes.
acronym not working?
So it's
Yeah.
easier to turn those into multifamily homes
Right.
than it is down here because
Right.
contiguous units here.
Well,
Right.
they say don't. I've heard it said don't do well, some people are successful with duplexes, but I've heard it said don't even start with anything less than 5 units
Nice.
because, like, basically you don't want you don't want it to be vacant, and if you only have a 50% chance, like if I lose one person or one tenant,
Yeah.
I'm down to 50%.
Right.
Whereas if I have 5, now it's 20%. Like if I lose one, it's only 20% of my profits.
I guess it just mean on a follow on the Northeast homes built in the Northeast, like New York,
Yeah.
upstate in that area. They lend themselves well to being portioned off into multiple units.
Oh, I see.
Down
Yeah.
here, it's a little bit harder because you have like limited wet walls and you have limited facilities.
Yeah. And also we have, the immigration issue.
Oh,
For instance, in Manassas, there's a huge crackdown on the number of even people that can live that are not of the same blood in one house.
Really?
So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, in Prince William County, if you're
That's
not,
because you're Puerto Rican.
Oh, but yeah. No, it's cool. Racist.
it's all right. Yeah, and in Prince William County, if you have more than you can't have more than 3 non-related people by blood in one home.
Interesting. I did
residence.
not know that.
Yeah.
So if you got a roommate and it's a dude, you live together for 7 years,
Right.
legally married accidentally.
Right.
Yeah. Just
Yes.
FYI, that's the thing now.
Oh, yeah,
Common law applies to same-sex marriage still. So.
Yeah, that could potentially be a thing as well. But yeah, I mean that's one thing that we kind of got going against us in the area. But if you can find it, they do exist. Like if you get closer to the Arlington area, and then frankly too, the reason why we didn't have a lot of more duplex in this area is because we have land, or
Yeah,
I
lots
should say
of
we
it.
had land. Yeah, depending on how far you go out.
There's
Thanks
still
to Lord Fairfax.
there's still some left.
Right, there's still some
A
left.
little bit.
Yeah, but we had enough land to be able to give everybody a quarter acre and a mule, to build their homes on, where we didn't have to like double up or triple up on these homes. So that's another reason why they're just not as prevalent. If you can find it, sure. But back to the statement as far as like starting with 5 units or less, if you can do that, great. When it comes to getting an investment, definitely don't jump on the first thing you get your hands on. But if you're given the option between a single family home investment today or having to save up another 10 years for a 6 or 7 or small apartment or whatever you're trying to do, get in the game. Get in the game and learn how to play as soon as you can. Make sure you do your math, but if you can get in the game, learn how to play, learn the basics around it, the next deal, the next deal, the next deal after that just become easier. So that's definitely, where I would focus.
Can you teach us a little bit about the math at all?
So there's a couple different things, when it comes to having a rental. A lot of folks will just look at the rental expenses and say, okay, I have a mortgage and I have my insurance and I have my taxes for my rental. But something else to consider when you're doing the math, and if you go to biggerpockets.com, they have calculators. You can go all the types of rental calculators.
All right, Bigger Pockets, I want some kind of. We've already
Send us free stuff.
We shot you out 3 times. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely would. I mean, so when you're talking about a rental, you want to take into account your vacancy, which we had talked about. You want to take into account your maintenance costs, and that's going to be the smaller things, right? The faucet goes out. You have maybe things such as, just small things, less than $100 they happen to break. You also want to account for your capital expenditures. And these are the big things that just have a lifespan, like a roof, like a hot water heater. These things are going to die eventually, so you want to make sure that in your monthly expenses, you're saving up for them as well. And there's a fourth thing that you want to look at saving for, and that's also property management. Even if you plan on managing the house yourself, keep in mind as an investment, you want this to eventually become passive, which means somebody else needs to manage it for you. So if your investment can't maintain the cost of a property manager, then it's really not a true passive investment because you're not going to be able to release it. So, for instance, today, me and my wife manage our Airbnb in the house, but we have it factored that we can pay somebody eventually to do all the turnovers for us and to have somebody local to look into it for us as well. And we're still going to make an even enough spread to pay for the mortgage if we do that. So we're just keeping the difference for now, but eventually we can move it out if we want to in the future.
There you go. Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people that get into this game, they don't. It's actually. This is the Righteous Anger podcast, so there's 2 things I want to say.
Righteous Business Podcast.
Righteous Business Podcast. I'm telling you, you never know what you're going to find on the Righteous Anger, baby. We actually, last episode, we talked to aerial arts pole dancing fitness
That's fantastic.
person. Yeah, you weren't here for that, sorry.
I missed it.
Yeah, you missed it. We'll have her back on, but
Yeah.
but yeah, you never know what you're going to get. Today, we're getting
Grab
some
bag.
knowledge dropped on us by a true entrepreneur, Airbnb, I guess, can I say real estate?
Entrepreneur.
Yeah, real estate entrepreneur.
Real estate entrepreneur. Do you know how cool that sounds? I want that on my card.
Someday the real estate baron of Northern Virginia.
The real estate baron, Sam, and he's got the right name and everything, Sam Valme.
Baron of Northern
Baron
Virginia.
Baron Sam.
Baron Valme will see you now. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so make sure that you've got all that stuff figured out on paper first before you just jump in. You don't just jump into these things.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of questions for you guys
Yeah.
Okay.
after the show.
So the
'Cause I'm
righteous
starting something. It's not real estate, but it's business.
Oh.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Yeah.
So the righteous anger angle. First of all, remember when I said the first thing you do is pay yourself? That's not what we do here at my house.
Oh no.
My house, we pay Well, we pay.
Pay Tanya first.
I pay Tanya first. No,
Good answer.
we call it the kingdom work.
Oh.
Right. So as Christians, right,
So who's the king?
we tithe. Jesus is the king.
Okay, just want to put that out
Just
there.
saying. But yeah. So
Trump's not the king.
Trump is definitely not the king. Hopefully, two-term Trump.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
No.
When I heard that going, I was like, all right, we'll see about that.
God save the king.
Man, but and you know, and the other thing is, like, look at your what it takes. I forget the Bible verse, but there's this fantastic Bible verse.
I mean, we got the internet at our fingertips.
We do.
can just Google part of the verse.
I just want to see if I can remember it. I remember the gist of it, but it was something like, "Don't build your house on sand" or
There's
something
a wise
like
man
that.
who builds his house upon the sand.
Thank you. See,
Yeah.
look at that atheist with the callback.
Just saying.
But yeah,
I
I mean,
studied it.
that right there is a great business principle. Sand being you didn't plan on it, so it's going to crumble. That house is not going to be able to. The house or your business or whatever is not going to be able to stand if you didn't put it on good foundation. And what's a good foundation? What Sam's talking about here is do your research, get with people that have done this before,
Yeah.
and then go forward. And actually, let me ask you, did you have mentors or anything before you started this thing?
So I think that the mentor conversation is pretty interesting. A lot of folks will say, you have to find a mentor. What I would say is you definitely want to have someone that you look up to that's done it before, but they do not need to know that you exist. So just because this person is not meeting with you once a week and they're not giving you personal attention does not mean that you cannot learn from them. So, for instance, our mentor, when we got started, was actually our a real estate broker. She has some investment properties, and we got our real estate licenses as well, just because we wanted to learn and educate ourselves. But she definitely knew who we were, but we weren't necessarily meeting with her every single day talking about real estate. We sent her an email or two, and we were talking back and forth on some minor things. But also, I consider one of my mentors, Brandon from Bigger Pockets. Actually, I emailed him just talking about small things back and forth, and I don't think before I was on the podcast he really even remembered who I was. But all the content that they put out, everything as far as the books that they provided, those all taught us, what we should be looking for at least to get started, and gave us the confidence to begin as well. So you definitely want to look for folks who have done it before, but don't necessarily wait until you have that person that's like going to hold your hand and guide you the entire way, because you're either going to wait forever and that person's never going to come, and B, you're going to wait forever and that person's never going to come. That's actually it. You're wasting your time if you want that person who's going to handhold you and just give you the answer to the equation.
There you go. Wow. Dropping knowledge on the Righteous Anger podcast. So what are you looking at any other ventures, any future ventures coming up
As far as real estate?
as far as anything?
Yeah. So we have my personal goal is to do at least one project a year. As far as a real estate investment. So we're working with some folks right now in different areas. One of the beauties of this industry is that it's actually a pretty close-knit group. And once you've done one project and prove that you're real, that you understand what you're doing, and that it's, you're not just full of smoke, no pun intended, because we're in full of smoke right now.
Yeah.
But
Not blowing up smoke, not pissing on my head and telling me it's raining. Yeah, good. So
yeah, once you've proven that you actually are in the game, and that's why I said it's so important to not wait till you find that unicorn of a deal, to just get in the game. Once you've proven that, it makes it so much easier for for the actual next investor to say, hey, this person's real. I'll put money to back up your next project. So the first one we wanted to do, ourselves as far as that first project. But now that we have, kind of a brand coming up behind this, we have experience. It's making it a little bit easier for us to find folks that have the money that want to work with us on the next one. So that's really the next project getting started. Outside of that, folks come to me with business ideas all the time, and I just like going back and forth and just, giving folks advice and talking through what we had to go through, and just, how to work with the SSC, how to work with accounting, how to deal with insurance. These are all things that come up with businesses that a lot of folks have a really great idea, but they don't know what you have to actually do to start a business. So, I talk to folks all the time about that kind of stuff.
Sam is the man. Definitely get him as a consultant, because this guy knows what he's doing and he's practicing what he preaches, which you're going to find a lot of people out there life coaches, business coaches, and
Yeah.
all this, and they're telling you stuff that maybe they heard about that works. Maybe they went to a Tony Robbins conference or
Oh, dear.
something, and now they've got the answer. Like, oh man, if Tony can do it, I can do it. And a lot of these people make a lot of money, but guess what? You got to ask the question: have you done this? Have you proofed this concept? Because if you haven't, I don't want to even talk to you
Right.
unless you've done it. So, so that's the righteous part. Okay, Sam just righteously gave us a lot of great information.
Now the anger part.
Now it's time to get to the anger part. Past the hookah over there. So, Sam,
Yes.
you think you can get a little angry for me?
I try not to be, but I think I might be doing it for you.
Man has his anger under control.
Yeah.
He's a smooth character, but
Yeah.
there's got to be some kind of archetype of a person out there that you have encountered, whether they be investor, whether they be first-time business person, or something in that realm. Can you give us the worst qualities or some nightmare stories or something you've gotten angry about in your industry, something along those lines?
Interesting.
I have a spin on that question. Follow on.
You want to add on before or after?
No, I can add on now if you can remember.
add on
I'm
now.
curious if you've ever been angry at yourself.
Like for a business decision?
Yeah, like, oh man, I can't believe I did that. I'm so angry.
So there were a lot of opportunities, especially doing like your first renovation, to be angry with yourself. For instance, having someone who's not licensed to redo your entire roof, and then you're a person who you're getting a loan from asking for a notified letter from that contractor with their
crap.
license number stating that the roof is good for 25 years.
There's your oh shit moment in the screenplay.
Yeah, that's a
Oh, mom, don't call right now. Come on.
Oh, mamita, ¿cómo estás?
You want to pick it up?
Mucho gusto. No.
Okay.
no, we're not gonna pick.
No, we're not going to pick up
Sorry,
your mom.
Mom.
Sorry, Mom. Well, I'll call you later, Mom.
Yeah. So that was an opportunity to be angry.
Okay.
I guess at myself. But to me, I mean,
But it taught you something.
it taught you. That's the thing. I don't look at it as like this is an opportunity for me to necessarily be upset. It was like an extra $3,000 out of my pocket, but because I had to then have someone come back, find out something else that needed to be added to the roof, then I had to pay them extra to actually write that freaking letter. It ended up being like an extra $3,000 out of the pocket.
Oh my goodness.
But I learned that I learned an important lesson when they actually tell you, when they say, everyone says is when you're doing a home renovation, make sure all your contractors are licensed. There's a reason they do that, especially if someone needs to come behind and verify and legitimize with their work. So that's good. As far as your question, a personality trait that I've encountered working.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the people, and once again, I know it's supposed to be angry, but it's just kind of the art of human beings.
Okay.
It's
The man has civility.
He's a gentleman.
He's got it.
He's
Yeah.
a baron already.
I try.
Get you a collar for it or something. We got to do something.
I'm gonna use the guillotine when
Yeah,
I
there
become
we go.
when I become reigning emperor. I'm
Chopping-
just gonna do it just
chopping
real
this
Say
quick.
earlier, let them eat steak.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Let them eat steak. But yeah, the type of person that makes things, I would say, difficult is the person that takes you off track.
Oh.
Right. So there's people.
Derailers.
Right. Derailers. And nobody wakes up this morning and says, hey, Leo has a great idea. I'm going to pitch him something that sounds kind of cool, hype him up with smoke, and like kind of take him off course for a couple months. But those people unintentionally exist. And there's the reason why I say I can't get angry. It's because I have it in me to be constantly be interested. One of the traits of an entrepreneur is to see optimism and see opportunity.
Opportunities everywhere.
Right. So what happens is you get stuck with the shiny object syndrome, and people who really have no intention on following through with ideas, they bring them to you and they think that it's going to be a great idea. And then when you surprise them and say, hey, you do have a good idea. What are you doing about it? You want my help. What are we going to do about it? Show me, write something down. Let's talk about it. Let's meet up. And they say, yeah, I'll get something back to you.
Oh my gosh.
And then they never do.
Yeah.
And then they come back to you a month later and they want to like pitch this idea off you all over again. And they kind of like this revolving wheel of constantly like, hey, I want to talk about that idea again. It's like, hey, I said that was a great idea. You said you were going to like show me what you got, or like we were going to have a real conversation about it. And you never did. And now you're wasting my time. Because
I've been in that boat.
yeah, because people have great ideas. For instance, Leo, this podcast idea was it sounded cool, and me and Leo had met one time after the Bigger Pockets podcast. We met up for I think it was coffee.
Yeah.
you very easily could have been like, yeah, I want to do this podcast thing. It's going to be great, blah, 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 blah. Said, hey, we're going to meet up at 8 o'clock. And then you could have canceled on me. And then the next week you could have said, hey, Sam, are you available this time? And then it's, oh, well, actually, I had to do something else. And then it just becomes like you immediately lose credibility with people by doing that.
Right.
And you end up wasting my time. And that's one thing we all can't afford to get back is
Not
time.
at all. That's the number one commodity that we have.
So those people.
Like the room I'm in right now.
Yeah.
People who appreciate time.
That's right.
Right. Like I said, it's the one thing you can't afford. You can't buy it back. So it's the people, the archetype, if you will, is the people that, talk but are not willing to actually, move forward on their ideas or actually commit to their ideas.
Wow, that was great. And in my business, in the production world, how many people that come to us and either investors that say, yes, I'm interested in that idea and let's go for it, and then the money never comes.
Right.
Meetings, a zillion meetings, and this is something that I teach my guys now. I say, look, you give them 2 meetings.
Right.
After the second meeting, if a check isn't signed, if a contract isn't signed on the second meeting,
Right.
they're not serious.
Right.
And you need to reassess whether this is a real lead, if this is a real opportunity. And then the other thing in my business is, we do like creative things like television pitches and feature film type stuff. And, and that world can get really crazy because you've got people that come to you and they're like, got the greatest idea. We've got people looking at it. It's overselling an idea, and it's like, at first, when you first start a business, you're kind of like hungry for those ideas.
Right.
But then when you get now, Vicar Studios has been around since 2014. Now we're in a place where we're like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna have somebody look at that script, and if that script doesn't catch us in the first, it's usually like around first 6 pages. If that script doesn't hit us in the first 6 pages, sorry, man, round file. We can't afford. Time is so precious. Mm-hmm. If I try to get an opportunity with you and waste my time with you, I probably just lost out on 5 other things.
That could have panned out.
That could have panned out really well.
Right.
Because I'm wasting time. And like what Sam is saying, you can't, as an entrepreneur, you're always looking at maximizing your time, not wasting anything. Because look, Sam's got a family, I got a family, Eric's got a family. Like when you have when you're young, Sam's young, but when
Sam's gonna have a family.
Sam's married though, so he's got a family. But like when you've got an obligation to somebody else, that like intensifies everything that you do in the business, because now you can't just be like, excuse me for the term, but dicking around. You've got to be
pussyfooting.
Yeah, you've got to be making. Oh, awesome.
That's what the word's for.
Awesome.
Yeah, pussyfoot around the issue.
We used both sexual organs just then.
I know, it's nice.
That was awesome.
I
Wow.
like women. It's my thing.
Oh yeah. I like men. It's my thing. So, but
Got that? It was a little subtle.
you like that?
Yeah,
that was real cool.
Yeah.
But all right, let's move on now. So yeah, the thing is, you just can't waste time. And you know what? For everybody that's watching or listening to this podcast, take action has always been my mantra, and it's a mantra in a lot of other entrepreneurs and podcasts and things. You can hear them say, take action. The difference between a successful entrepreneur and a unsuccessful one is action. Are you actually taking it? Are you going forward? Are you going through with what you said? Right. And did you plan for it? That's kind of the other thing that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and to add on to that too, when it comes to taking action, and this is the one time I have to cuss because this
it's important.
It's important for this one, but motivation is bullshit. Waiting for that motivation for you to finally feel free, like, all right, now is the time to me actually able to take care of, to grab life by the horns and take care of my dreams. It's bullshit. That time will never come.
Never.
And the reason why is because by you inviting something new into your life, you're inviting stress and you're inviting potential pain into your life. And with your body and biologically, what's happened is you've developed over the course of thousands and thousands of years this piece of your brain that says, I do not want to experience stress. I do not want to experience pain because that leads to death and leads to me being unhappy. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to be uncomfortable.
Are you talking about the reptilian brain?
That could be, if the reptilian brain could be what it's referred to as well. But this is just like my observations when it comes to life and motivation is because our brains are not triggered. We are triggered to be self-sustaining. We do not want to experience stress. That's why we're able to actually have all these great ideas and concepts. Ironically, that's why we're able to have all these great inventions because we've reduced our stress levels from hunting and gathering down to the point where we actually can think about these great things. But it's the very few who say, hey, I'm going to actually go out and do this crazy thing that's never been done before that actually get to go out and experience, to reap the benefits of it. So many try one thing.
Pioneers.
Yeah, they experience that pain of failure, and it's so hard and it hurts so bad because it goes back to that, that's that subconscious fear that we have ingrained in us as humans to avoid that level of stress. And the first thing you say is, you know what? I shouldn't have tried, start my own business the first time. Our restaurant failed and I shouldn't have tried that. And this is what happens. Now I'm in debt. Now I'm having a bad relationship. This is what's wrong. If you hadn't done that, you feel upset by it. And that's just a natural response. But it's an entrepreneur who looks past that and says, hey, but what did I learn from that?
What am I going to do right next time?
That is so awesome.
Yeah. How am I going to do better next time, when it comes to that? It's getting over that fear. It's getting over that, I messed up or, I in my opinion, it's getting over the fact that it didn't turn out and focusing on what you actually learned from it.
The thing that, again, going back to the anger part of the righteousness, the thing that pisses me off more than most things lately is this idea that we have to have safe spaces for people.
Oh, PC culture.
PC culture, because you know what? Your kid lost.
Yeah, they should not get orange slices.
They should not. Yeah, no trophy, no medal.
Dust yourself off. Go back to practicing.
Let me tell you something. When I used to fight amateur, right? And they would give you a medal just for participation, right? But they didn't give you a trophy. They didn't say, "Oh, you're a winner." No one's a loser here. That's the beauty of combat as a sport. When you lose, and same thing, football, basketball, whatever.
Yeah.
When you lose, you feel bad. You see grown men on fields, in the ring, in the cage, in these venues, crying. Grown men crying. Why? Because it hurts to fail. But to take away that pain is actually doing a disservice to that person. They're not able to grow and learn to overcome adversity and obstacles. And what do you get at the end of that? You get people they call millennials. You're definitely a millennial. We're
on the cusp.
We're on the cusp of being a millennial.
Yeah.
But they say that we don't have what it takes to face adversity and overcome it. And I think for a lot of the population, especially the ones that are growing up now,
oh yeah,
if we keep that rocking and rolling, that whole idea of there are no losers, you'll never have winners. You'll never get that rocky comeback story. You'll never get those people. You'll get people that commit suicide or just say, I'll never, like what Sam was saying, I'll never do that again.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's a good question. I'm curious how people would review the movie Rocky today, because he didn't win that fight.
No, he didn't. He didn't win.
In the first movie, he lost.
But there was a Rocky 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you got at the end of the movies. You got this catharsis of he's not giving up. He's going to fight him again. And
that's the entrepreneur. And to me, that's the hero of the story, is the one that, even though he fell, that's actually the oh my God moment.
Yeah.
The oh my God moment in the screenplay, in the great movie, is they fall so low, but then they rise.
Yeah, that's the archetypes.
And I'll tell you, guys, please, anybody who's listening to this, if you're facing adversity right now, you do have a Rocky 2 coming, but it's completely dependent on you. You're the one who's going to make that happen. No one else can tell you to stop. Only you can tell yourself to stop trying. So just get your ass up and keep going. And you'll get there. You'll get there.
Right.
And have mentors too, because guess what? The reason why that person is worthy of being a mentor is because they've been in that same position that you're in right now, and they overcame it. So figure out how they overcame it, copy them, and then become your own story.
Yeah, learn from them.
Yeah. Look at our guest. He's just sponge. You just soak in. You soak in the lessons learned from anywhere you can get them.
That's
everywhere
right.
you can get them.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
they
right.
might be expensive lessons.
And that's worth it.
Yeah, and they'll save you a lot of money if you just learn from other people.
Actually, we get interns from George Mason in our business, and one thing that they don't learn at Mason, like they learn everything about how to do film, how to do TV, how to produce. What they don't learn is actually the business side of it. Like and that's something that is reserved for your internships, and
you're gonna learn it on the job.
You're learning it on the job. I mean, like that's what you really learn on the job is, and that's what Sam was saying earlier. Is like go out and do it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Perfect moment never really comes, does it?
Right.
Yeah, this is fantastic, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, dropping knowledge on the Righteous Anger podcast. Sam Valme, Baron Sam Valme.
Got a new title out of this.
You gotta remember that one.
You've
We
been-
gave it to you. You got the Baron
Grab
title.
Remember who gave it to
grab
you.
me that sword.
Oh, you're gonna knight him?
Grab me
gonna
that
knight me?
sword.
Oh man.
I did not know. I didn't know this was happening. I didn't come prepared for this. Can I just stay seated, or do you need to get on your knee?
You're good.
This would be the highlight.
You're getting officially a title. You know, actually, Americans can't hold royal titles.
I have a sword.
It's actually illegal.
So this is actually just complete bullshit.
No, this is real, man.
This is real.
This is real in the digital world.
I don't think you're licensed.
You got to be ordained by God to do this. You know that, right? Like, I'm not even joking. A king is ordained by God in order to bestow
I'm the
knighthoods.
CEO of Vicar Studios.
Okay, you're
So,
a vicar, so you're a duke.
I'm a duke, and I'm gonna knight this guy. So I'm not really knighting him though. It's Baron, right?
Yeah, so you're technically making him a vassal or
I'm making
a
him
lord.
of a lord.
You're making him a lord.
Do you want to be better than a lord?
You're gonna be a baron.
I don't think are you qualified to make me better than a lord? Because I don't think he's saying you're not qualified.
I'm
I
not-
don't know if you are.
I don't think. All right.
Do you have royal blood?
I'm good with Baron, right?
Baron's okay.
I got a lot of different kinds of blood. Nobody knows what I am.
I actually don't know where dukes versus barons are, but vicars are up there.
We're gonna go ahead and Baron this guy right now.
I'll take a baron.
We're gonna bear him. So by the powers invested by the Righteous Anger podcast,
Here we go.
I dub thee Baron Sam Valme.
Oh, thank you so
Left
much.
and right.
Left and right.
Yeah,
Perfect. That was it.
that's all it takes.
He's a Baron now. So for those of you out there, it's Baron Valme. All right?
I'll change. I'll update my LinkedIn
That's right, and your Twitter and everything.
and my Twitter.
Holy crap! You see that Righteous Anger podcast? We just freaking Baroned a guy. I don't even know if that's a thing, but we did it right here, right now.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. So, is there any before we end the show? Is there any last thing? I don't have any more questions for you. I do, but not for the podcast. These are personal questions that I don't want you guys knowing what I'm about to do. So no, but
It's got to be secret.
it's a secret thing, and you got questions too,
Yeah,
right?
I got a couple.
Oh, we got some business to get down to. But before we do that, Sam, do you have any final words or anything for people that are watching this
I mean,
or listening?
I guess just two things. I mean, number one, I mentioned this in the last podcast I was on, but you want to make sure that you figure out your why in life. You want to make sure that you understand why you're operating. And just, a short story about that. This guy, he was, in somewhere, let's go ahead and say Mexico, for instance. He was, on vacation, multi-billionaire guy on vacation for 1 week out of the year. He loved it so much. He went down and he went to the fish market, and this guy was fishing all day and just selling fish right out of the back of his boat. Tries the guy's fish and says, "Oh my gosh, you cooked this amazing. You should take this to America, sell it. It's going to be fantastic. In a one day in America, what you can do is you can build this huge company, make a lot of money, and then one day you can retire and do whatever you want to do in the world. Like, what would you do if you had so much money that you could just retire?" And the guy was like, "Will I be fishing?" Right? He knew his purpose, and therefore he didn't have that constant pull, that feel that you weren't good enough, because he knew what he was doing. That's the why behind it. And if you don't know what your why is, the second thing that I would say is imagine your perfect day, literally write it down, and pick apart the pieces of it and work backwards from there and start working your way towards that day.
Wow. Every
Every day. And if you don't know, try. It's better to live, a life trying 50 things a year that don't work out, that are different, than just to start trying to do one thing it's not working and just being upset. So always try to work towards that perfect day to figure out what your why is.
You heard it here, guys. Figure out your why. What do you want to do for the rest of where do you want to be? And then work backwards from there. Did I get that right?
That's right.
My man. Sam Valme, I keep wanting to say Valme.
Baron.
It's Baron
Baron,
Valme now.
excuse me. I know. I just buried you. Baron Sam Valme from WhiteHouseRentals.com dropping knowledge on the Righteous Anger podcast. Aren't you glad you listened today? We might have him back on after he conquers his next fiefdom or whatever. After he conquers the next land.
I don't know that word.
It's okay. Somebody out there, Google it.
Somebody's gonna correct it.
Somebody
Right.
else, somebody will correct you.
Somebody. But I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. I hopefully you had a good time.
Absolutely, it was
Thanks
great.
for coming on, man.
Right
Yeah.
on, man. So we're going to sign off now. We've got some business to talk about, but thank you for listening. And this has been the Righteous Anger Podcast.